Well, we are just about at the season's end here. Welcome into sunny and sweltering Charlottesville High School for this USLW matchup between the Charlottesville Blues and Virginia Atlantic FC. Just two matches remain for the Blues, and both of them will come against Virginia Atlantic, a team they've already played and beaten 3-2 on the road for the Blues' only win of the season against the Virginia Atlantic side, still without a single point through its inaugural campaign in the USLW League. Blues sitting on 5 points, Virginia Atlantic on 0. Only pride to play for as the season winds down, and the opportunity for a first home win for the Blues women, Eli. And I'm Camille Goot, joined by Eli Bertoni here in Charlottesville. Just moments from kickoff as these two teams do battle. We'll get you your starting lineups here, starting with the visitors, Virginia Atlantic. In goal, it'll be number 0, Amelia Cross. The backline consisting of number 16, Reagan Goodwin, number 10, Amani Green, number 6, Jaden Patton, number 2, Haley Martinkovich. In midfield, number 11, Marissa Gross, number 8, Mary Boateng, number 14, Marita Story, number 18, Madeline Dixon, number 15, Nalea Williams, and number 12, Sachi Bureau. And for your home Blues, it's a 4-3-3 lineup with number 1, Keely Thomas in goal. The back line, number 12, Gabby Andres, number 4, Carolina Chow, number 25, Kayla McGee, number 5, Abby Delves, and in midfield, number 17, Phoebe Ryan, number 14, Sinclair Hart, number 8, Charlotte Stavis, and in attack, number 10, Barrett Callejo, number 9, Ellie Cook, and number 19, McKenna Winterton. Since the Blues' first and only win of the season, they've been beaten by Annapolis and Virginia Beach in consecutive games, and here they get the opportunity to continue that good form against this foe, who once again is still without a point. Eli, what do you think the keys are for a good match here in this second meeting between the two sides?
I think Charlottesville have a really good chance of dominating the game today. They got their first win, as you mentioned, due to a 90th minute, but I believe if they put this Virginia Atlantic team under a lot of pressure, really make them uncomfortable in possession, they can get a very comfortable win today.
Absolutely, and it took a 90th minute effort by Els Williams to get the Blues over the line on the road. And kickoff here at Charlottesville High School Stadium, where the sun will certainly be a factor, the weather in the 90s, and sure to see several breaks, and we'll see if that impacts the pace of play. But here it's Virginia Atlantic on the ball to start in the light blue, Charlottesville Blues in the white and dark blue. Giveaway there in midfield, it's Cook driving at the ball. She has McKenna Winterton in support. Decides to run at it herself, but a good recovery run by Green for that Virginia Atlantic back line. And with not much to play for in terms of the standings, we'll see if this game potentially opens up a little bit and we see near the amount of goals these two teams had in their last matchup. Abby Delves back in the starting lineup there on the throw-in. It's featured consistently at right back, dealt with a bit of an ankle injury throughout the middle of the season, but finds herself back in the starting right back position. Winterton's pass intercepted there. Atlantic trying to play out, but Delves gets onto it here at this near side. A bit of miscommunication there between her and Winterton. Now it's over to Callejo, who shoots, but a bit of a weak effort, and Cross able to get on the end of it after a bit of a fumble. But the first shot on target there by Barrett Callejo.
Yeah, very promising start for Charlottesville. Able to put Atlantic under a little bit of pressure, win the ball back, and they end up getting a shot on target.
The long goal kick there. Hart wins it, but goes into the midfield for Story to take. Ball played in there for Bureau, tracking back. And a switch there by Patton. McGee there with a bit of a failed clearance, and now it's Bureau running at Andres. Passes it over to her teammate. The cross goes in, but not troubling at all. Goes out for a goal kick, and Keely Thomas will be the one to take. And immediately played out to McGee, who sends it through midfield, but out for a throw-in. That's been a consistent theme with head coach Nick Reagan's squad, is playing out of the back this season. There it's Phoebe Ryan on the ball, pressured by a couple of players. Bureau winning it up high. Hart with a good recovery, but Bureau still on the ball and gets it back to her center back, Patton. Callejo pressured by two Atlantic players. It'll go out for a throw-in for the visitors. And another turnover there. Atlantic getting on the end of it. Out wide to Boateng. She puts a couple of moves on and blows past Andres. Down the byline, the ball comes into the box. Bureau not able to get on the end of it, and Stavis clears. But only for another Atlantic player. The cross is sent in, and we'll see if that's offside. The referee does raise his flag on the far side. But a couple of early giveaways and some waves of pressure for Atlantic.
Yeah, I talked about Charlottesville putting Atlantic under pressure right at the start, but Atlantic, since that early chance for Charlottesville, really putting the pressure. Charlottesville hasn't gotten the ball out of their half since then.
See if Andres can spring forward an attack here. It's Callejo on the ball. Cook and her other teammate running. Cook in behind, but it's offside, and she won't get the chance to get her goal. It does go in the back of the net, but already after the whistle had blown. Of course, it was Callejo and Stavis who were part of the goal-scoring trio in the previous matchup. Williams finds herself on the bench in this one. We'll see if she can have an impact in limited minutes, but the firepower is there, familiar faces, and still a bit of a 50-50 game in the opening 5 minutes. Here it's Gross on the ball, going by Sinclair Hart. Winterton trying to help her recover. She'll take it a bit wide. And then over to Dixon. And Atlantic forced backwards, but a nice turn there by Story. She sends it over to Gross, and great defending there by Delves. Really physical, and she earns the throw-in for the Blues. Throw in there by Delves. at the near side. Cook wins the header, but it's Story who's aware on that. She's been really involved early for this Atlantic side. And it's the two number 12s going at it. Bureau on Andres. That's been a key battle already on Atlantic's right wing. Here is Boateng over to the ball played into Williams. First time saying her name this afternoon. She tries to get past McGee, plays the ball in through, but Delves there to cover and played out wide to Winterton. She's feeling a bit of pressure here. Tries to spring Cook in, but cleared all the way to Keely Thomas. She's able to react just in time. Chow over to Andres. Now it's Callejo with Cook making a run. Has some space in the middle, but the ball goes out for the throw and a good tackle there by Patton. Callejo roughed off the ball there. Atlantic retains possession. Boateng sending Dixon forward. Williams here with some hold-up play. Keeps that ball, tries to send in her teammate with the through ball, but was asking a little bit too much of Gross. Bit of a scrum here at the near side. Delves sends it down. Cook battling. And now it's Patton over to her goalkeeper, Cross. The Blues trying to pin Martinkovic in here. The press trying to succeed, but Atlantic still comfortable on the ball. Boateng dropping in very deep to receive. Once again, it's Boateng on the ball with time to pick her pass. Over to Goodwin. Now the run by Williams took the wrong deflection and it'll be a Blues throw-in. One there by Story. Plays through Dixon. Chow trying to make that recovery run, does so, and it's sent out. Williams trying to hold her run on side. We'll see if she's able to. And no, she can't. The referee signals offside once again. And it seems like this near side, the right flank, is really congested, especially when the Blues try to attack. It's been Cook trying to drop in every time, and she's a little bit late to it. Meanwhile, on the left-hand side, Andres and Callejo have been a little bit more creative and on the same page. And that switch is there again for Callejo. Stavis making the run. And foul called the way of the Blues around midfield. And they'll get their first free kick of the afternoon. These two teams, not many goals between them. Not just the 4 goals on the season for the Blues, 5 for Virginia Atlantic, and 5 combined came in their last matchup. So this is an opportunity to certainly feel a bit better about themselves and their seasons as we get into these final few matches. As Atlantic tries to spring forward and attack. And good recovery run by Chow there. And she gets the ball back from Thomas with options in behind. Can she find one of them? Here it's Hart over to Phoebe Ryan. Tries to send the through ball for Kaiho, but once again, not the right direction on it. And there's clearly spacing behind both these back lines, but quality of passing hasn't been on par. Here's a long ball in. We'll see if Bureau is able to just stay on side. It seems like she has been able to. So Bureau working on Andres, sends the cross in. McGee deals with it, goes back out to Story. She sports backwards to Boateng. Driving to her left. The cross swung in for Williams, but takes a bit of an awkward bounce, and Thomas able to get on the end of it. Thomas elects to take this one long. And now it'll be Andres going backwards after the rebound. Here is Andres. Tries to send through Cook. That's a really teasing ball. A great turn by her. She shoots a long shot, but well defended by Green. And one back by Boateng. Felt like she had space to work with there, Eli.
Yeah, I thought Cook might have tried to lay it off to somebody. Taking it first time from that distance, definitely a very hard shot. But if she would have put it off, it would have been a wonder goal. So maybe it's worth it.
Absolutely. Maybe some frustration creeping in there. Obviously, Blues as a whole haven't gotten many attacking opportunities, but Winterton was kind of an option on the right, and it's going to take likely more than just an individual run to make the magic happen. It's one back here by Ryan in midfield over to Hart, and the Blues calm things down a little bit. Chow over to Andres. That entire front three basically parallel at the moment. And Virginia Atlantic winning the ball back. Bureau here working on Chow, who's a bit wide, out of position. Williams also finding herself wide. And Blues will be able to reset on the throw-in.
Atlantic have probably looked like the better side so far through these first 15 minutes. They've looked pretty comfortable in possession. Boateng has really impressed me. She's been dropping into those half spaces very deep, helping Atlantic build out from the back. And Charlottesville, besides that early chance, hasn't really been able to do too much.
Yeah, the Blues really has this free kick taken quickly, but played over to the center back, Green. Ball up top there, read by Kaiho and cleared by Andres. But yeah, the Blues really haven't had too many sequences of possession in Atlantic's half. It's been largely trying to spring these runs in behind forward. And on the flip side, Atlantic seems a bit more comfortable just on the ball, playing in these types of passing triangles and trying to build through a bit more patiently. Once again, Green on the ball. The Blues press not really troubling her. McGee into midfield. Good win here. One back by Cook. taking on Green, tries to blow by her, wins the physical duel, but still a good enough tackle by Green there to force the throw in and stop that break. And it'll be the first cooling break of the afternoon in the 17th minute. Likely to see a couple more of those as this one goes on. The sun was hidden for a couple of hours before kickoff, but coming back into full force here and definitely playing its part on the energy levels in this game. Just a reminder, this is the women's home finale. They'll have one more match after this on the road at Virginia Atlantic. That'll be on June 28th, Saturday, over there in Norfolk. And after this as well, the men will be playing Lions Bridge tonight, 8 p.m. kickoff time. And they still have a bit of ways to go with 4 other matches to follow. Players going back out there after the cooling break. Cook and Callejo going over some things. And we'll see how early as well maybe some subs come out in these conditions, how that affects the lineups, and could just see in general just earlier subs than we're probably used to.
Yeah, getting fresh legs on the field in the right moments is definitely going to be key. It's around 92 degrees right now, but on this turf field and with this humidity, it probably feels about 100 plus for these players.
Yes, we have the advantage of being up here in the press box. Very cool. And
absolutely,
players ending this summer season in some really hot conditions. Atlantic here on the ball. And going backwards a bit, it's Boateng picking it up. Referee doesn't see a foul there. Boateng still clutching at her side, but the Blues will continue play. And now the whistle is blown. Seems like a collision between her and, I believe, Hart or one of the other Blues players, but seemed like a fair tackle, just the physical nature of the game. But we'll see if Boateng is able to continue. She's been really involved in terms of just getting on the ball. Has had probably the majority of the touches of this Atlantic side, and one of the leaders for goals for this Atlantic side, 2 on the season, which is tied for team lead. And it looks like Boateng is all good to go, so the Blues will get this drop ball and play forward to Cook, And some good physicality there by Patton, and Green gets on the ball now. The through ball there once again by Marcinkovic. Not on the same page, and since that early Callejo chance, not too many clear-cut opportunities for either side. Callejo here winning the ball with a bit of hold-up play, cutting in to midfield, plays it over to Hart. And now Chow driving forward over to Andres, who is pressured. She'll have to go backwards once again. And Atlantic head coach Zachary Hansen urging his players to press forward, especially as the Blues struggle to get the ball through midfield. Once again, it's Chow driving down the left. She plays the ball through. It seems like Callejo got in the way of that one. It was intended for Andres, but it's one back here by Callejo. Turns backwards and distributes over to McGee. Maybe a switch of play coming. And it'll come here on the near side to Delves. Let's see if she can create a bit of magic. Tries to play through Winterton, who keeps her run onside. Plays the cross through, but it's deflected by Green, and cross will cover.
Yeah, a little bit job from there. Charlottesville being able to keep possession. Probably their best spell of possession so far in terms of getting the ball up the pitch. And creates a little bit of a half chance, but promising signs for the Blues.
Blues win it back in midfield with Ryan, and back over to Chow. Hero trying to press, but you can see there's a bit of a limp in her step. Winterton seems to take a rough tackle. Referee calls for advantage, and a great switch of play there by Stavis for Callejo, but she's just offside. Had a lot of time to get back onside, but didn't recognize the push forward by the Atlantic backline, so it'll be the visitors' ball. The goal kick there by Thomas spills over to Atlantic's back line, but forced into a bad pass, and it'll be a throw-in for the Blues in Atlantic's half. Andres plays over the teammate, and it'll be a foul. So free kick opportunity in a bit more of an advanced position than the first one. And McGee with a big opportunity here to give the Blues a very clear-cut set-piece chance. Let's see if the delivery is what is expected of it. The ball is sent in, and two players are cooking. Winterton just not able to connect. But the pace on that, the location, really well done by McGee. And they'll need more of that as the game continues along. A bit unlucky there as Cross just got in the way. Once again, the Blues force a throw-in. This time a bad ball by Martinkovic. Idaho back to Chow, who drives forward and gets a bit ahead of herself. Cook was dropping in as she sent that ball over the top, and it'll go out for a goal kick. Bureau over to Green. Green driving forward now through midfield, the center back. Sends in a really nice ball, but just too much pace on that one for her teammate Gross to get on the end of. Bit of a collision there in midfield for the Blues, and now it's Gross driving forward at Chow. She steps by, and the recovery made by Andres. Now Hart into Stavis with runners trying to time their run. The ball comes in for Kayo. Will she beat Martinkovic? There she does. She sends the low ball in, but didn't really pick her head up. Had to send that one in first time, and Green tracking back. She's been really energetic and now driving forward once again. Into Gross, and this is becoming a bit transitional. Bureau going down the right wing. Chow trying to recover, and the touch is just too heavy, so the Blues escape that counter opportunity. And now the quick restart on the goal kick. Stavis with a bit of room to work with in midfield, switches it over to Ryan. Cuts on her left. I believe she was trying to play in Callejo there, but it deflected off the center back. But it spills back over to Andres. A nice move there to get rid of Bureau's pressure. Chow now driving forward. Tries to play in that angled through ball, but not enough on there. And a bit of frustration clearly visible by Winterton and a couple other these attackers. The service just, for the most part, hasn't been timed right for these willing runners. Now Gross with another fantastic move. Boateng to support, but it's won back by the Blues. Hart over to Ryan, and through ball once again. Just not matching the pace at which these attackers are driving forward. It's just too heavy of touches.
Yeah, it's been a pretty sloppy game from the Blues so far. A lot of touches that have been too heavy, through balls that have been too heavy, gone right through the goalkeeper out of bounds. And if the Blues want to start creating some chances, the midfield really needs to start connecting a little bit better with these attackers.
They've won the ball back in some really promising areas, but really no shots to show for it. Callejo now, some great composure, sends it back over to Hart in midfield. And a bad giveaway by Hart. Dixon on the ball, switches it over to Bureau. Running into midfield, dribbles over to her left, but the ball there dealt with by Delves, and Winterton with the running, but not able to get on to that pass. So a throw in for Atlantic, taken quickly now. Dixon with a cross up that Not sure who that one was to. No one was really on the far right side, but regardless, the Blues recover and it'll be sent back to Thomas. And it's just a bit of a, like you mentioned, Eli, just a bit sloppy from both sides. Neither really able to retain possession, and the pressure from each has really just forced a lot of bad giveaways and aerial duels that are truly 50-50. But a bit of good passing here by Atlantic, getting a couple of players involved that haven't seen a lot of the ball. And throw in there and a tackle there by Hart, given as a foul against the Blues. A pretty clear infringement there, and that'll lead to our second cooling break of this first half. So I think the Blues have honestly picked it up since the first cooling break, Eli, but like we mentioned, just not putting that end product on the field, and sometimes you just feel like you have to keep it simple, especially in this heat. They've done the hard work and just kind of shooting themselves in the foot on these breakaways.
Yeah, the heat definitely a factor. You can already starting to see some of the players tire. And when you are an attacker making those types of runs, when you make them enough and you aren't getting the quality of service, it really can start to take a mental toll on like just why would I take this run if I don't expect the ball? Like it's not going to get to me.
Yeah, absolutely. It can be a bit deflating when, you're putting in that effort, especially in these conditions, and the service isn't matching what it needs to be. And the idea is that with presumably more opportunities to come, that will be fixed. But all it will take is just one moment of really good passing to really put this Atlantic back line under some pressure. Been admittedly, of course, a frustrating season for both sides, and with the Blues, there's been a lot of team talks, a lot of players voicing their opinions and trying to right the ship. And in these huddles, as we've seen it during the cooling breaks, there's a lot of communication, and they're looking to try and fix this immediately, try to go ahead before the halftime break as we enter the 36th minute now. So on the restart, it'll be that free kick for Atlantic after Sinclair Hart's foul. Ball sent in there by Green. Almost on the head of that Atlantic attacker. I believe that was Dixon, but she's flagged for offsider. I believe Gross, who followed up at that far post. Delves over to Winterton. And another physical challenge there by Hart, and she tries to spring forward Cook, but once again, the timing is just off, and Cook got a little bit too eager and finds herself offside. But it's been a combination of both. Atlantic's backline has really done a good job of moving forward in the right moments, forcing that offside trap. And here once again the free kick taken by Green. Andres getting a header in and forcing Martinkovic backwards. Here is Bureau. Ryan with a clever turn there. And great switch of play for Delves. Winterton making the run. That ball just not able to stay in time for Winterton to get on the end of it. But a really good idea there. And a bit of class shown there by Ryan. And a turnover here for the Blues. Cook wins it. Winterton driving forward at the Atlantic defense, but not able to get through that last defender, Patton. But another throw-in in deep into Atlantic territory for the Blues. And once again, it's over to Winterton. Delves considers the cross, and it deflects out almost, but a good positioning there by Green to delay that corner kick, and now a turnover in the box. Cook gets on the end of it. Over to Ryan. She cuts, shoots on her right foot, and the ball rising, but not troubling cross there. But another shot on target there for the Blues. And that pressure just gradually rising in the Blues' favor. Hart wins the header there after the goal kick. Ball played in through there for Cook, shouldering her defender off. But it's a third Atlantic defender coming in to send the ball out of play. McGee here trying to switch play. Boateng looking to intercept. She does. And stalls out a little bit and turns the ball over after a bit of indecision. Ryan here now over to Delves, but has to track backwards. And now it's Hart. Tries to find Chow, but it's a bad giveaway. Bureau turning on her right, blowing past Chow at the top of the box. An opportunity to shot, and Keely Thomas saves, but it's there. Put in home on the rebound by Williams, but the flag is up. And so this one will not count. Despite a fantastic effort by Bureau and the foul through by Williams, this one remains 0-0.
Yeah, Charlottesville really lucky there. Just an absolutely terrible giveaway in midfield. And very lucky that ended up being offsides.
Yeah, Hart caught a bit flat-footed there on her attempted pass back, and just really good reading of the game to intercept that one by Bureau.
We've seen some very, very just simple giveaways from both teams now, deep inside their own territory, that have led to chances. And getting the first goal in this game is going to be very key, because when you get that first goal, you can sit back. You're not going to have to run as much in this heat and really force the other team to put in a lot of energy, and they will tire quickly, especially in this condition.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have to think that the conditions are kind of playing their part as far as these simple mistakes go.
Absolutely.
But this is an Atlantic side that, once again, despite being fifth and the Blues just fourth, Atlantic has yet to even draw a match. So it's all on the Blues to force the issue and not be the first ones to give Atlantic any type of joy in this, what's been a very long season for the visitors. Here is Boateng, one back, but another deflection goes her way. And now it's Green, pressured by Cook. Fair challenge there, but Green able to retain possession. Now it's Callejo trying to drive at Boateng, but she just completely blows by two Blues players, springs the ball in forward for Williams, but the angle took her too wide, and she never got the opportunity to shoot. That would have been offside. A fantastic find there from Boateng, but it seems like it took a bit of a weird bounce on this turf, and Thomas not having to deal with any type of shot. Here is Green once again being decides to push Callejo after that. Tensions flaring, and now Gross driving at the byline. A fantastic touch, but the referee signals that it's offside. You can see really the quality in midfield for this Atlantic team, despite what the record may suggest. Gross and Boateng have been really, really composed on the ball and are leading the charge to find this first goal for the visitors. Approaching the final 3 minutes of the first half. See how much added time we get. We've seen the cooling breaks and maybe a few minor stoppages. That ball sent in over and behind. It seems like Winterton held her run, but the referee signals for offside. That was really tight. And Winterton can't believe it. She thought she had timed that one to perfection with that angled run. And once again, the Blues find themselves on a restart with Atlantic retaining possession. Here is Boateng basically acting as a center back, dropping in very deep, and that ball over to Williams, cleared by McGee, comes off the shoulder of Goodwin, and Delphs to take the throw. Winterton controls that ball, plays it overhead, and Cook wins it, but gives up on chasing that one as it goes out for an Atlantic throw-in. And it's won in transition by Williams, but that ball in Child's path. And now Delphs having to deal with some pressure on the near side. Able to spring forward Ryan. The first touch not good enough. And Atlantic on the ball again. Boateng, bit of a sloppy pass, but Green calms things down. Back into across his feet. Patton back to Green. Cook trying to press. And long ball in over the top. Thomas trying to deal with it. A miss kick there. Bit of an awkward moment, but Chow was there. So very fortunate there for Thomas, who completely mishit that one. But no harm, no foul. And Atlantic tries at it once again as we're approaching now stoppage time. We'll get you the info on how long that'll be in just a moment. It'll be 4 minutes of stoppage time to wrap up this first half. So a lot of time still for one of these teams to make their mark going into the locker rooms. It's an Atlantic throw in deep in Blues territory. Here is the turn by Bureau and a fantastic curling effort. It's 1-0 for the visiting Virginia Atlantic. And off the restart, it's the visitors who go ahead. Thomas with almost no chance on that one. Bureau deciding to have a go at it, and beaten was Thomas in the top corner.
Yeah, it's a great turn and a great strike. Thomas just not quite able to reach it. And I talked about getting that first goal being so important, and Charlottesville really going to have to use up a little bit more energy going into the second half, and we could see them really burn out if they have to chase this game for the entirety of the second half.
Yeah, you would have to think there will be more goals in this game with the way the tactics will have to change, the approach, and that first goal, as you mentioned, absolutely massive. A bit of a commentator's curse there as Atlantic getting that goal right off the restart in stoppage time. And that's also been one of the prevailing themes for the Blues this season, is giving up those late first half goals. Despite what's been largely a good enough performance as far as the opportunities, the sequences compared to Atlantic's, once again, the Blues find themselves trailing. And honestly, credit to Bureau on that one, because as the right winger, off that restart, was fully on the left side, and with her right foot, weak foot, I would imagine, generate that much power. Just a fantastic goal. And Thomas has dealt with a lot of those high-rising shots that have looked almost unstoppable. And I believe that was Atlantic's first shot on target as well. So very efficient there for the visitors. And just a minute or two left of this stoppage time for the Blues to try and respond before we get the halftime break. Here's Callejo driving past Story, but a good recovery there. The ball in the air, a collision, and the referee will give a free kick to the Blues just on the edge of the area. And so this is one way to really get that response quickly and change the entire halftime team talk potentially. It's going to be Cook to take this one. Let's see if she tries it directly. She tried that ambitious long-range effort earlier that got deflected. I'm sure she's likely looking to put a lot of power on this one. Here is Cook to take. She sends it low, and not surprising cross there. She was alert and dove to her right to stop that one, and that'll be the last action of this first half. So it's Sachi Bureau with the goal for Virginia Atlantic that finds the visitors ahead 1-0 heading into halftime against the Charlottesville Blues. Largely an even game throughout the first 45 minutes, but with its first shot on target, Virginia Atlantic finds itself up the goal, and the Blues will be looking to respond against this Virginia Atlantic side that entering tonight's match is still without a point. So at the moment, winning, and we'll see what the Blues can do in the second half. We'll be back in around 20 minutes for the remaining 45. almost ready for second half action between the Charlottesville Blues and Virginia Atlantic FC. Virginia Atlantic looking to stop this streak of losses and get their first points on the board in the 2025 season, up 1-0 against the Blues heading into the second half after a fantastic goal by Sachi Bureau, and fired up, ready for the second half. Both teams with a lot to talk about in the break, and we'll see which side can come out of the second half swinging. For this second half, just the one substitution. It'll be made by the away side, Virginia Atlantic. It'll be number 3, Aubrey Case, coming in for number 2, Martinkovic. Seems like a like-for-like change at right back. And it will be Ellie Cook to get things started in the second half as the Blues start with the ball. McGee plays that long ball in over to Callejo, testing Case early. Also, for the Blues, it seems like a change has been made in the net. It'll be number 0, Sophia DeSerb, coming in for number 1, Keely Thomas. And so Thomas had just the one shot on target to deal with, failed to keep that one out, but admittedly an almost unsavable strike from Bureau in the dying moments of first half stoppage time.
Yeah, seems a little bit harsh to be taken off a half for that, but we have seen a good amount of goalkeeper changes at halftime for the Charlottesville Blues team, so not necessarily that surprising.
Yeah, we'll see how early it takes Blues coach Nick Regan to make his first real subs in terms of the attacking side of things to try and get back into this match.
Yeah, Charlottesville really need to get a goal as soon as possible in the second half, because the longer it takes, the more tired they're going to get. And so getting those fresh legs in at the key moments is going to be very important if Charlottesville want to mount a comeback.
Absolutely. Have a couple of the players from England who have been regular starters on the bench in this one, with Sandy Martins and Els Williams as options, and then also a couple of more newer players in terms of the lack of minutes as options, in terms of Taylor Kamalski and Izzy Smolik. See if they get some of their first action late in the season.
You mentioned Els Williams on the bench. Obviously got the winner the last times this team faced. Perhaps she could come in and do something similar today, whether that be getting the Blues a draw or maybe scoring another winner against this team.
Yeah, could be a super sub and a much-needed spark in attack. She's played in many positions for the Blues this year. Usually plays as that number 10 attacking midfielder, but has found herself as a bit of a defensive midfielder at times, as a number 9 and in her natural position. As Virginia Atlantic with a really good sequence of possession here. Here it's Case working on Callejo, and Case will be happy to let that one run out. It seemed like that had gone out, but Callejo got a touch on it just in time, and the referee says it's only a throw-in and clear out, but met there by Patton, and she'll swing across in. Not well dealt with. Here is Bureau, the goal scorer, and McGee deflects. Oh, it seemed like it went off her shoulder, but got just enough on that. And now the Blues looking to spring forward a counterattack. A great ball in there from Cook for Winterton to run to. Cook making her own run, and the cross by Winterton just behind Cook, and it'll be Goodwin to deal with that one. A foul call now against the Blues. I believe that was Winterton making a tackle after that counterattack didn't pan out. A bit of frustration. And as we're discussing at halftime, Eli, this Virginia Atlantic side, despite having 0 points entering this match, seems like just a very solid squad. This midfield has a couple of really calm and composed players. The quality on the ball has been really impressive, especially in these conditions. And Chesapeake Division has been, of course, a tough one to battle through all season long for this side, but you can certainly see the quality throughout the side. And will it finally put itself on display for a full 90 minutes to get this team its first point and maybe even its first win, which would be massive? And they look to hold on to this 1-0 lead. It'll be a really deep free kick here for the Blues. McGee to send that one in. Gets into the center of the box. The header put on by the Blues player, and the rebound opportunity goes against the Blues. The foul there. Winterton crashing the box, I believe, against Cross, but collided into her path and seen as an illegal challenge. And so Virginia Atlantic escapes that one. Not sure who got the header on that. Maybe Andres, it looked like. And Cross fumbled the ball before Winterton tried to tap home. The rebound would have been a fantastic equalizer for her second of the season, but it remains 1-0. Here is Boateng once again driving with the ball over to Gross. That throw in there. A physical battle between Bureau and Chow. And it'll be a free kick for the visitors. Here is Case. The cross sent in. And a fantastic save there by Sophia DeSerb against Dixon. And it forces a Atlantic corner kick. So called into action immediately. And DeSerb making herself big after a cross that could have been taken by one or two other players, fell to Dixon. And her first save of the afternoon after subbing on at halftime.
Yeah, very big save there. If Charlottesville do end up going down 2-0, it's going to be a very big mountain to climb to come back and even get a draw in this game.
Absolutely. And still here the corner kick to deal with by Boateng. It falls in the box, and it's shot, and it's roofed into the back of the net. It's Dixon, I believe, and it's 2-0 for the visiting Virginia Atlantic, and looking well on its way for the first win of the season. DeSerb with the save, but not to be denied twice was Dixon after the rebound attempt fell to her feet on the corner kick, and the Blues find themselves under it early in the second half.
Yeah, a little bit of a commentator's curse from me there. Probably shouldn't have mentioned Atlantic getting their second goal.
Well, it works that way sometimes, partner. Absolutely had the same thing on the first goal for Virginia Atlantic. And just two really poor moments and from the Blues, and great execution with some really powerful shots on two goals for Virginia Atlantic. They've come out of the second half with the same tempo as the first. Here is Winston over to Cook, and not able to find Callejo. Got a little bit flat-footed. Sends it back to Ryan, who switches over to Delves. Has a lot of work to do, and decides to swing it wide for Cook, who mishandles, and the frustration growing and growing for the Blues. This is a Virginia Atlantic team that has given up 31 goals in 8 games this season. Obviously, the Blues are second worst to that mark, but this is not a team that, of course, holds clean sheets. And we saw that in the previous matchup where the Blues won 3-2. So a lot of work to do, but history tells us that this isn't the most insurmountable task for Charlottesville.
Yeah, absolutely. This Atlantic team has conceded 31 goals so far this season compared to our 21. So definitely a possibility that the Blues can make a comeback here, but it is definitely going to be a very difficult comeback.
McGee here once again to take the free kick. Cook tried to rocket that one on the half volley, but it's misdirected and springs forward an Atlantic counterattack. And McGee trying to hold off Gross. Remains calm, passes back to DeSerb, who will send it into midfield. But here now, the Blues with Callejo. Cook trying to hold a run. It looks close, and once again finds herself offside. And it's just been that kind of evening for the Blues forward. Has had many chances to correct her timing on these runs and just can't seem to do it thus far. But Virginia Atlantic on the other end, very aware of this and has also played a high line, but been communicating very well to step up around at the same time to make these runs go offside. Here is Case trying to send it across to Williams, but cleared by McGee, and Stavis picks it up in midfield, tries to pass it to Winterton, but the defender Goodwin was already there, and Atlantic able to get the ball back with Boateng to distribute. Case here pressured over to Patton. A nice pass there for Story, and the Blues press backs off a little bit, so she'll be able to just play keep away for a bit. And now that through ball in, Andres does well to deal with Gross, but forces herself to put it out for a throw-in, and now it's a 2-on-1 with Bureau cutting to her left. Story back to Gross, working on Andres. Some great footwork there. Cuts onto her left foot, crosses the ball in, delves with an awkward chest clearance, and it goes off Williams eventually. So it'll be a goal kick for the serve, but some really scary moments in succession there for the Blues once again, pinning themselves in a little bit on their own. Andres tries to make a switch of play. That's a really good ball with two options, but Green clears, and foul there against one of Ryan or Cook, who collided into Patton, and it'll be Boateng to take this free kick.
Green has been very good on the back for Atlantic so far. Any of the balls over the top that have been of decent enough quality, she's dealt with. She's made some great tackles, very comfortable on the ball, and really kept this Charlottesville attack quiet.
Absolutely. Despite her physical kind of profile, she's also been really good at just on the ball, staying calm, and also just springing forward some of these attacks with some really good running. And the through ball there dealt with by Chow.
Charlottesville not putting pressure on this back line whatsoever. You saw there the Atlantic defense have the ball at the 50-yard line and just not a Blues player within 20 yards of them. And if they are trying to make a comeback here down 2 goals, they really have to start putting some pressure and force some mistakes.
Absolutely, a lot asked, a lot required of this blue side. And one final opportunity to get that first home win of the season is slowly fading as Virginia Atlantic looks for its first win period of 2025. It'll be a Blues free kick. Once again, another really long one. And to be fair, McGee has sent in some really good service. 2 opportunities for the Blues that just missed the connection in the box.
It looks like a yellow card has been issued to the goal scorer for Atlantic, number 12, Sachi Bureau.
Good catch there. And here is the free kick taken by McGee. A clearance there by Atlantic. And the second ball also sent out near these near side tents by the Blues bench. And we'll get our first cooling break, I believe. Or scratch that. Oh, yes, we will. Our first cooling break of the second half. And well, if the frustration amongst the Blues in the team talk at halftime was already obvious, this has grown tremendously, and we'll have another opportunity to talk things over as we approach this crucial final 30 minutes. So back out after this cooling break. There'll be a substitution for Virginia Atlantic. It'll be number 13, Story Maybank, coming on for number 12, the goal scorer, Sachi Bureau, the first goal scorer, that is. And we'll see what Maybank can bring to this front line as the Blues get a bit of a opportunity there after the restart on the throw-in. McKinnon Winterton trying to crash into the box once again. That's been a really good trade of hers since coming into this team late in the season, but Cross was first to it.
Yeah, Charlottesville trying to take a page of their opponent's book and score after the restart, but a good grab there from Cross.
Yeah, so it looks like that'll also be a like-for-like change. No changes to this formation for Virginia Atlantic. Maybank will come in at that right wing. And the Blues looking to work out of the back after this goal kick. It's Chow looking to send forward Cook. Some good link-up play with Callejo, and now Andres overlapping. Tried to curl that one into Cook's path, but well intercepted, and now Maybank getting involved early. Springs forward, Gross, McGee first to it, and sends that one towards this near side, but recovered by Story. And a turnover there in midfield. That pass for Boateng off target, and just as well, Stavis can't find Winterton's run. So now it's the center back, Green, getting forward once again, and Gross in a lot of space here. The serve, making yourself big, getting in the way of it. Who will get to it first? Gross with the shot, and the tackle there by Delves getting in the way, covering for her goalkeeper to prevent this run from getting truly out of hand, and it remains 2-0. But those transitional moments are really catching this Blues team out. After a couple of turnovers back to back from both sides, it's the center back, Green, who's been really intuitive about the timing of these forward runs and almost got that assist on the shot there for Gross. It's Gross here on the ball once again. The cross swung in and cleared there. Here is Ryan on the turn. Over to Winterton, a good touch. Gross trying to pressure off the ball, but Winterton retains. Stavis creeping into the right wing. Trying to take on Goodwin. Gets the support of Delves. And that pass just really not on the same page at the moment. Gross once again, her head forward, looking for options. A nice turn to hold off Ryan, but Ryan, the winner, and the ball sprung forward for Cook. Winterton making the run. Will she take it herself? And she gets pressured off the ball by Green. And looked like a fair challenge in all honesty, but Green will get penalized. So it'll be a free kick from a promising area for Charlottesville. And Cook maybe just a bit fortunate there because she decided to take that one herself into the path of both center backs instead of letting Winterton handle the shot. But in the end, it's another free kick here for the Blues. It'll be McGee once again. The angle is a really difficult one, especially from this far out, as it's really in the center of the field. But she does take it herself, and it's never threatening. Cross always rising, and another wasted opportunity there from the Blues. It seems like here we'll see a couple of changes. It'll be number 6, Ellie Deal, coming in for Ellie Cook, number 9. And then also Sandra Martins coming in for Charlotte Stavis for the Blues. So a bit of attacking changes. McKenna Winterton will slot into that striker position with Sandra Martins playing a bit of attacking midfielder, and immediately she wins the ball back off the restart, takes the shot, but in the path was the Virginia Beach defender. Here it's Kayo trying to recover. A fantastic intervention there by Patton, but the Blues here working again. It's Ryan over to Martins at the top of the box, tries to play it out wide for the other substitute Deal, but well dealt with by Goodwin, and the Blues pressure fades. That would have been some way to enter this game for Sandra Martins.
Yeah, Martin's a regular starter at the beginning of the season, provided some glimmers of hope for the Blues at the beginning of the season when they hadn't won or drawn a game. So she is definitely a player who can provide and create chances for this Blues team.
Played back now for DeServe. She'll send it over for Andres, who miscontrols and throwing for the Blues. Seems like a bit of trouble getting the ball for the restart. So a bit of a delayed throw in. And another missed touch there between Martins and Ryan on the throw-in. It goes back to Atlantic's possession. Gross there, pressured off the ball by Hart, but it was Maybank there to win it back. And here is Boateng on the ball. Plays it over to Maybank, and it goes out of play. Green over to Goodwin with some space to work with if she chooses to run through Delves. Plays it over to Gross. Cuts in on her right. Another good move to evade pressure. Back to Boateng. She tries a very long range effort. It deflects, and Maybank there was offside. Andres over to Callejo. Martin's making the run, but the ball behind her, and a lot of work to do, and another fantastic physical effort by Green. It spills out to the wide area for Deal. Dell's making a run. The ball with just a little too much pace on it to handle. Now it's Hart over to Ryan with the stutter step move. Great turn there on the left. Shoots a long range effort, but not on target. Just over the far left corner. And the attack fizzles out once again for the Blues. a good bit of fortune there for Boateng on the rush with Maybank and Gross also alongside her. Boateng still on the ball, taking on two Blues defenders, takes herself to the byline, still on it, despite Child's best efforts. And all that effort gone to waste as the back pass to Dixon rises far behind the goal.
You can see there the individual quality of Boateng, able to take it past multiple players, get into the box, and perhaps stays on the ball a little bit too long, might have taken a shot or crossed it, but you just see that quality that Atlantic have with some of their players.
Absolutely, but not able to separate herself to find the angle for that shot. So some good recovery defending there by the Blues as we enter our second cooling break and final one of this match and second of the second half. With about 15 minutes remaining, the clock is ticking against the Blues, and just the point here even is seeming like a very tall task against this Virginia Atlantic side that at the moment is going to, with this result, get its first win of the season before, of course, these two teams meet for the final time in the Blues' final match on Saturday, June 28th, on the road to close out this 2025 season.
Atlantic, if they end up winning here and next game against the Blues, will overtake Charlottesville in the standings and force Charlottesville to the bottom of the Chesapeake division.
Yeah, that's absolutely the last thing the Blues want. Of course, a season with more lows than they would have liked and trying to avoid that final blow in these final couple of games against the one team that they'll play, which is the only one chasing them for the rights to not be bottom of the division. And as we get back into action here shortly, just a quick reminder about the second matchup tonight between the Charlottesville Blues men and Lionsbridge, with the Blues getting an opportunity to play spoiler once again for Lionsbridge after a 3-3 draw on the road. Lionsbridge finds itself in those top three positions in the Chesapeake with still the potential for getting a playoff spot. The Blues mathematically out of it, but with that opportunity in this rematch. That match will be tonight at 8 p.m. over on Sports Engine Play, so be sure to check out that match as well. I'll be joined by Marshall Lemert on play-by-play as those two men's teams do battle here to close out this Saturday doubleheader. The restart taken by DeSerb, and it'll be Chow over to Andres. Completely getting the better of Maybank, who fell to the floor, and now Winterton falling to ground, trying to spring a teammate forward, but was just a bit erratic there on the touch. And actually, I think that may have deflected off that Atlantic player, so it'll be a Blues throw-in deep in Atlantic's territory. Winterton chests it down, gets it back over to Andres, but unable to keep that ball in, and the quality in these short distance passing sequences just really has been lackluster for the Blues. Martin's giving chase, but a fantastic turn there by Story, and an ambitious through ball for Maybank, but Chow with a bit of pressure on herself, fumbles that one, plays it back out to the serve. Andres trying to keep it in, but won't do so. And it seems like this mountain of pressure is really piling on the Blues and getting the better of them as we approach these final 11 minutes of normal time. Really no clear efforts by the Blues, especially since that early goal in the second half to make it 2-0 for Virginia Atlantic. And Story switches over there to Green, over to Goodwin. Williams out wide here with Gross in the middle, but doesn't have the pace to match that ball. Really running out of energy here as we are, of course, in the 80th minute. And although the sun has faded, still very hot here in Charlottesville. And most of this Atlantic attack especially has put in a full shift this evening. Back wide to Chow, over to Andres with space to work with. It's decides to cut back in. Over to Hart. Chow once again asked to make a decision, and the pass for Martins is read there by Story, and it seems like she unknowingly got her foot in the way of that run in front. So it'll be a foul called against Sandra Martins as she looks in disbelief over that one. And Story, despite that knock, able to get up. It'll be a free kick for Virginia Atlantic. Martin's still just bewildered over that decision. Was completely unaware, of course, that Story was running in front, and believed she just put her foot out to receive the pass and ultimately ended up clipping Story. So, of course, a bit unfortunate, but a bit of a delay here on this restart as Atlantic will look to cross this one in, it seems. We'll see if it'll be Boateng or and it will be actually the dummy run and a stutter step there. The cross swung in, cleared. The header there by Deal. So now Patton on the ball with the switch available. And Callejo running. Boateng defending. And Callejo takes herself wide. So not winning many 1v1 duels. And not retaining a lot of possession here in these final moments are the Blues.
Yeah, Charlottesville, it seems like they've been stuck in their own half for the majority of this half of football. Just haven't been able to really get the ball up into the final third. Atlantic have done a very solid job pressing, and we know how much struggle Charlottesville have had playing against a team that presses very well.
Yeah, that's really been likely the key aspect on the scouting report probably for most of these teams in the Chesapeake division. It's been very hard for the Blues to break out of really well-oriented and drilled high presses.
One of Charlottesville's best results was obviously that draw at home against Richmond when they went down 1-0. And at that point, Charlottesville began to press with a lot of intensity and was able to get that draw. And what's interesting is against a, on paper, much worse team in Atlantic, we haven't seen them press really at all.
Looked like a handball there by... Actually, I thought that was by Callejo, but it seems to go against Case. And the Blues will get the ball here in the final moments. The free kick taken quickly, but overhead of Winterton and Boateng with some good composure, but not able to beat three of those players. Callejo just about stays on side, it seems, trying to work on Case. Case with a very good tackle, and I believe that'll be the first corner of the night for Charlottesville in the 85th minute. And this one needs to be delivered with really good pace and placement for the Blues to get on the board and potentially challenge the result in this game.
We saw Charlottesville get a chance from a header on a good free kick delivery earlier in this half. Hopefully, we get another one, but obviously we end up scoring this time.
It's McGee to take. Swung in there. The header deal was on the far post all alone, but just misread that one completely, and it went off the top of her head, completely over the fencing. And once again, just even when they do find themselves in some space, the quality hasn't been there, and we've seen that be the difference tonight. Atlantic spring forward an attack here. It's Williams, the striker, now in a wide position, trying to take on Delves. Chow there for support. Clears it out. It falls to Ryan, and the counter can begin here. And a fantastic through ball for Kaio. She has loads of space on the left-hand side. Case trying to recover. Kaio cuts in on her right foot. Two defenders on her, and it seemed like that deflected off the defender. And Goodwin clears out for the throw-in, so pressure averted. Winterton here, deflected out by Green, I believe, and that'll be Charlottesville's second corner. So another set piece opportunity in the 87th minute. And honestly, like we mentioned, most of their set pieces have had a really good service, but have not had the finish to match. And this is one of those that has to combine both. Once again, McGee swinging that one in. The header, I believe, Winterton, but it goes towards the far post and out for a goal kick. And Winterton there just trying to make sense of it all, as many of those have not gone the way the Blues had hoped tonight.
Yeah, it's another good ball in, and she rises higher than anyone, just not able to direct that on target.
Entering the final few minutes here at Charlottesville High School Stadium, and Virginia Atlantic growing more and more confident in their ability to hold on to this win. Hart with a bad clearance there. It's Story at the top of the box. A good clearance, I believe, by Hart in recovery. And Winterton trying to get sprung forward, but Patton just shoulders her off the ball. And once again, still in the 89th minute, it's Gross giving chase. She's been really inspiring in her performance in midfield tonight, getting forward on many occasions and still putting in effort in this heat and being up 2-0. Wants to leave no doubt for this Virginia Atlantic team that has been starving for a win all season and is just a few minutes away from getting that well-deserved result. So it'll be a couple of subs here for the Blues. Callejo and Andres coming off for Els Williams and Taylor Kamalski, who I believe is getting her first minutes with the club. And she'll have a couple of minutes here to get involved. Also, it'll be Sinclair Hart out for number 7, Izzy Smolik. So Smolik as well. Smolik and Pomorski getting those minutes.
A little bit surprising that it's taken this long for Els Williams to get onto the pitch, considering what she did against this team in their last game.
Yeah, and it was right around this time that she got that winner, and now the result in this one is completely different. Won't really have the opportunity to make her mark on this one. And for Virginia Atlantic, a late substitution as well. It'll be number 17, Brooke Jackson, in for number 16, Reagan Goodwin. And we'll get, once again, just as the first half was, in here we'll get 4 second half stoppage time minutes. The last 4 of the Blues season at home. Can they muster up one more positive moment? Here is Els Williams, and another fantastic intervention there by Green.
She's just been absolutely outstanding tonight. Completely pocketed this Blues attack, and just been really impressive.
Bad giveaway there. The 2 English women connect. It's Sandra Martins for Els Williams. Her cross gets deflected, though. McKenna Winterton had space in the box, and then the deep cross there from Martins goes over the top of the goal post. And going back to that performance by Green, as you said, Eli, just been so sure of herself in every 50-50 moment. Just the intuition to step forward at certain times.
Absolutely. The other center back, Patton, as well, who we haven't mentioned as much, has also put in a very solid performance. Despite a couple giveaways and shaky moments, she's also been very solid and kept this Blues in check.
Absolutely. And for her position as well, maybe a bit undersized, but putting in that shift physically and has made life difficult for these Blues attackers nonetheless. Another late opportunity here for Gross to put the cap on things, turning Sandra Martins inside out, and the long-range effort caught by DeSerb. Just didn't have enough pace on that one to chip the Blues goalkeeper, and the goal kick sent into the middle there, won back by Virginia Atlantic. Here is Delves after the Blues win the ball back. And Smolik there getting one of her first touches of this match after coming on.
Patton with another great challenge there.
Here's a throw-in for Delves, turning backwards. Williams with the nice touch there to keep it in play. Winterton as well with the header over to Deal. Tries that effort from long range, and that's really just a sign of what has gone wrong for the Blues this afternoon, as it seems like an Atlantic player needing a bit of attention from the trainer. And I believe that is Brooke Jackson, one of these substitutes. for Virginia Atlantic. Seems to have a bloody nose of some sort, so she'll be tended to in the final minute or so of stoppage time. Virginia Atlantic playing with 10 players, but it won't seem to matter as they hold this commanding lead. The Blues winning the ball back high in midfield. Delves looking to switch it over, but well read there by Case. And will she elect to play it forward? She does to Boateng. Well defended there by Chow into Delves. And the referee blows the whistle to signal the end of this match. It is Virginia Atlantic getting its well-earned first win of this season. A 2-0 result against the Blues. The Blues with another disappointing result, and they end the 2025 season, unfortunately, winless at home. And we'll have one more match in the third matchup between these two sides to close out the season on Saturday. Eli, it just seemed like the difference in quality tonight was too much to overcome for the Blues.
Yeah, a pretty dominating win in all aspects for Atlantic. They just had a little bit more individual quality in that midfield, in defense, and attack, really in all areas of the pitch that Charlottesville just couldn't quite overcome today.
Absolutely. The goals by Bureau and Dixon coming in each half respectively to power this Virginia Atlantic side to its first win of the season. And once again, the Blues women with one final matchup on Saturday, June 28th against the same side where they'll vie for positioning in terms of 4th and 5th to close out the Chesapeake division. But as for us here on the broadcast, it's our final women's broadcast of the season here for the Charlottesville Blues. We hope you've enjoyed following along with us all summer, and we appreciate your time spent with us. Make sure to tune in as well later tonight for an 8 p.m. kickoff between the Blues men against Lionsbridge in a rematch of a 3-3 draw earlier this season. I'll be on the call with Marshall Lemert, so be sure to tune into that one as well tonight. And we'll see you in that